Hello, fourth graders. It's Miss Rodriguez, and today we're going to talk about text features. After this lesson, you will be able to classify and evaluate the use of text features and their purposes. So what are text features' purposes? They can show us information, tell us information, help us find information, and use to better organize information. Authors include text features to help the reader better understand what they have read. And text features provide information that may not be written in the text itself. And text features can be found in textbooks, magazines, articles, newspapers, reports, web pages, and other forms of nonfiction texts. So what are some examples of text features? Here we have a table. It organizes facts and numbers in a visual way so that it's easier to read. And tables present all kinds of data and information from numbers to amounts to calendars and menus. Tables help the reader compare information in the text. So here we're comparing students' favorite juices. And here we're looking at study time versus grades. Heading. A heading divides the text into sections and explains what the sections will be about. Here we have our heading, and it has our title and our subtitle. And titles tell the reader the main topic of the text, and the titles show the main idea of the text. Titles help the reader by letting them know what they are about to read. And the subtitles tell more about the title itself. The words are in smaller print, and they usually are underneath the title, like we see here. And then we have subheadings. Subheadings divide the text into sections. Subheadings tell the main idea of each section of a text. They are printed in large or bold type to make them stand out, and subheadings help the reader to locate information in the text by telling them where to look. Title page. A title page tells a book's title, author, illustrator, and publisher, and usually it tells us what time or year it was published. Photograph. Photographs show what something looks like, and it's usually taken with a camera. Photos and illustrations give information in a visual way. They help tell the story. They work with the words and heading to help teach material, and they help the reader understand an idea from the text that was unclear. Maps. Maps show where places or events are located. Sometimes we can see a map in Google Maps, or we can see a map that is in an illustration form. And so maps show the basic shape of the land and other geographical, political, or historical features. They present information in a visual way. They help the reader understand where an event happens. They help the reader understand how far away an event took place. Bold print. Bold print shows what words are important or what words can be found in the glossary. Illustration. An illustration shows what something looks like, and it's created by an artist. So an illustration is a hand-drawn picture in a fiction or nonfiction book, and an illustration helps the reader visualize the text that is being written. Here we have an illustration, a drawing of Rosa Parks. So now let's apply it. Let's apply the knowledge we just found and put it to use with real questions. Here are some text features questions. You'll be able to classify and evaluate the use of text features and their purposes after this lesson. Here is a question about home electricity. We're going to use this graph to answer this question. Why is the electricity used more on the weekends than during the weekday for most appliances? So in blue we have the weekday, and in the orange we have the weekend. And now we need to think critically on why, during the weekends, more electricity is used during the weekday. The answer is most people work or go to school during the week, so they don't use the appliance as often as the weekends. That's what we can infer from this graph. Now let's look at a pie chart. Leah's living expenses. How much of her income does she spend on food? It looks like she spends 55% on rent, 15% on utilities, 10% on food, 5% on clothing, 5% on other, and 10% on a car payment. And in total, that's 100%. So how much of her income does she spend on food? Looking at the chart, we see it's 10%. So the answer is 10%. Now let's look at Leah's daily activities using a line graph. About how long does Leah spend on leisure activities? It looks like sleeping, she spends about 9 hours. Working, she spends about 8 to 9, 8.5. Eating, she spends about 3, almost 3. And leisure, she spends about almost 5. So about how long does Leah spend on leisure activities? Well, it looks like that's almost 5. So the answer is about 5 hours. Now let's see books read per month using a line graph. Looks like this is Sandy, this is Gray, this is Jess, and this is Josh during September, October, and November. How many books did Jess read in September? We'll go take a look at Jess, and September is blue, and it says she read 3. So the answer is she read 3 books. Now let's look at household water use in gallons using another line graph. We have Bob's house in red and Lee's house in blue. The question is, which month is the only month that Bob's house used more water? Bob's house is red, so let's look at all of the red. And we see that in June and in April, there's a tie for 40 gallons. So the answer is June and April, in the months which he used more water. School lunch. How many of Miss Smith's students bought a school lunch on Tuesday? So we're going to look for the name Miss Smith, and we're going to look at Tuesday. And so this graph is telling us how many students bought lunch on Tuesday, and the number is 5. Table of contents question. How many pages long is Romeo and Juliet? And the table of contents can be found at the beginning of a book, and it shows a list of topics or parts of a book and the numbers on which they begin. So the vocabulary begins 1 through 18. The grammar lesson is 19 through 23. Romeo and Juliet is 24 through 45. The writing assignment is 46 through 48. And the quiz is on pages 49 through 56. So how many pages long is Romeo and Juliet? So we're going to look here at Romeo and Juliet, and it's 24 to 45. So the answer is 21. It starts on page 24, and it ends on page 45. And that gives us 21 pages. The glossary question. The glossary is found at the end of the book, and it's a list of words and what they mean, their definition. So how are the words in a glossary organized? They are organized in alphabetical order. Here is a map. On which ocean is Daytona Beach located? So we're going to look at our map, and we're going to find Daytona Beach, and it's right here. So which ocean is Daytona Beach located? It shows us that this next to Daytona Beach is the Atlantic Ocean. So the answer must be the Atlantic Ocean. Solar system question. Between which two planets is Earth located? So we're going to take a look at our solar system illustration, and we're going to find Earth. And Earth is between which two planets? I see here that Earth is between Venus and Mars. So the answer must be Venus and Mars. Now that we know all about text features, I want you to go to Seesaw under the Reading Classroom and look for the follow-up nonfiction text features Google Form task cards 1 through 10 and answer the following questions. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.